What's going on, you guys? It is game day. The Montreal Canadiens are going to be hosting the Seattle Kraken at the Bell Center tonight for the first time with a full barn for as many seats as are going to be sold, of course. For the first time since December, the Montreal Canadiens are allowing full capacity at the Bell Center. So, a few things we're going to talk about really quickly in this video today. The return of Joel Edmundson. His debut will be tonight, going to make his debut against the Seattle Kraken. We're going to talk a little Jesperi Kotkaniemi going to be offered an 8-year extension, it was reported, with the Carolina Hurricanes. Do you guys care? Let's talk a little bit about that. And then right into a relevant subject related to Kotkaniemi is Christian Dvorak, when he makes his return shortly. Is he part of the long-term solution for the Montreal Canadiens? All right. So let's start with Joel Edmundson. Eddie is back tonight, and there's going to be nobody happier. This is actually an instant reaction from Jeff Petrie. This is his reaction to Edmundson making his debut tonight. Full smiles ear to ear for Jeff Petrie. Oh, man, is he ever happy to have his D partner back. That is 100% for sure. And I want to show you guys this clip. This is a really fun clip from last year's playoffs with Edmundson and Cole Caulfield. Take a look.
Right there, big number 44 with a high five. He said, you know what? We're going to be better right there.
Like, you gotta love that. Oh man, it's so good. So good. The family dynamic that was the Montreal Canadiens during that playoff run last year was a blast. So some pretty cool quotes coming out about Joel Edmundson from Josh Anderson, actually, before practice. I think it was yesterday, today, but did see that the quote was pretty neat. I mean, as we all know, Joel Edmundson lost his father to cancer just over a month ago or so, and clearly it's been an emotional time for Joel Edmundson. But in terms of the effect that this guy's been able to have on the locker room of the Montreal Canadiens, Josh Anderson saying how it kind of gave him goosebumps, just the fact that it was a possibility that he was going to make his debut tonight with the Habs, and that was a pretty encouraging sign to see. Just all the positives coming from Chris Weidman, even too. Just saying how, Edmundson would give you the shirt off his back, and Weidman saying how it'd have to be 8 times the size if he was to give it to Weidman. But just really cool to see that. And Jeff Petrie and Edmundson, you have to think might very well be paired together tonight. Ben Sherratt going to be paired on the top line, maybe still with Chris Weidman, maybe. I mean, you're going to see. But let's just go into a screen share here of what the lines are going to look like coming from practice for the Montreal Canadiens. This is coming from John Liu, who, of course, we did interview recently on the Habs Tonight show. So let's just take a look at the lineup. Some other changes happening tonight, too. So we got Dauphin out, Mike Pizzetta back into the lineup. So first liner, no surprise, of course, Caulfield, Suzuki, Anderson. But then Hoffman, Rem Pitlick, Brendan Gallagher. So Pitlick replacing Dauphin at center. Then you got Byron, Evans at center, and Leckie on the third line. Mike Pizzetta taking the left wing on the fourth line with Ryan Poehling and Yoel Armia on the right. And then, of course, Joel Edmundson very likely to replace Cale Clegg, which I do think is a pretty decent move there. So now going from that, we also got a couple of lineup updates, injury updates, if you will. Jonathan Drouin is very close to making his return. And then Christian Dvorak is day to day. But before we get into Devo, I want to get into Jesperi Kotkaniemi. So we all know that he was offered recently. It was reported right here from the tweet from Chris Johnson that the Hurricanes are close on an extension with Jesperi Kotkaniemi, hearing it will be an 8-year deal, which means it can't be completed until the March 21st trade deadline. Those are the rules. So what do you guys make of this? Do you guys actually care? I mean, does it resonate with you? Some of you guys were big KK fans. So I want to get your comments below, of course, in this video, but the cap hit pretty decent, around $4 million. That's probably something that was maybe negotiated around the time of the offer sheet. But for me, I mean, I don't really miss KK right now. I got to be honest with you. He just wasn't a guy that was mature enough. Now, did the Canadiens mishandle his development? Yes, they very likely did. But I just don't think that, I don't know. I just don't see, I don't, even under Dom Ducharme, whether he was still here with Marty St. Louis, and some folks, you may agree that Jesperi Kotkaniemi could have had a better development path under Marty St. Louis. Who wouldn't, right? I mean, at this rate, Marty's having a great effect on this roster, as we know. But just want to get you guys quick thoughts on this. I mean, the extension hasn't been made official yet, but he's going to be a Carolina Hurricane potentially for a very, very long time here. But that's why I want to just jump right into Christian Dvorak. So is he part of the long-term solution? Now, looking at Devo's stats this season, in 34 games played, 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points in 34 games. Now, a minus 17. But if you really want to focus on the minus, I mean, Ben Sherratt is a minus 19 currently, and he's right at the top of the trade bait board, still very valuable. So the reason I think Now, here's what I really think about the lineup. If we go back to John Lou for a moment here and the tweet about the lineup, I think that he's very likely going to, Christian Dvorak is going to be the second line center between Brendan Gallagher and Mike Hoffman as soon as he makes his return. I think that's very obvious that Devo is going to be the second line center. And I think he could very well remain the second line center as part of this short term solution for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, as far as long term, I don't know exactly, but I'm not sold on the fact that Christian Dvorak isn't going to be part of the long-term solution for the Habs. I still think there's very much untapped potential there. Very good on the face-off. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Christian Dvorak make his debut under Marty St. Louis, and I'm looking forward to him being the number 2 center spot for the Canadiens and having Brendan Gallagher on the right. So to me, if Galley is going to stick around, I do see Devo and Galley being a good pair, at least to start with. Finalizing another line with Brendan Gallagher that can stay together long term, since the Deneau, Tatar, Gallagher line was a thing for at least 2 or 3 seasons. So now we got to figure out who's going to be on the left at that line. Maybe is it Jonathan Drouin? Is Mike Hoffman going to be here long term? So I think I think the answer is no on that one, by the way. But I'm curious to see Jonathan Drouin, Christian Dvorak, and Brendan Gallagher, seeing how that works out. I think that could be interesting. With Tyler Toffoli out of the mix, of course, Josh Anderson pretty well solidified on that first line with Suzuki and Caulfield. So leave a comment down below, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all these subjects if you want. Really, I think Kotkaniemi and Dvorak is where most of you guys are going to chime in here. But I am looking forward to seeing Christian Dvorak on a Marty St. Louis team and being at the number 2 center spot and seeing how this works going into next season. So I just thought it was an interesting thing to bring up. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate the support as always, guys. We'll see you post-game for Montreal, Seattle, either later tonight or first thing in the morning. It'll be up, my post-game reaction to that. So stay tuned as always for that. And also to let you know, I did just release a full episode of my new podcast, which is also on this channel, Deeks and Vaca. My buddy Eric Vaca and I doing a league-wide, NHL, really hockey-wide podcast. So do check that out as well, guys. Thanks as always. We'll talk to you guys soon. As always. Did I say that more than once? I think I did. All right. See you soon, guys. Cheers.